Basketball fans, welcome back. So in this video, we'll be looking at an article by Citizen Digital, why KPA remain the powerhouse of basketball in Kenya. So this article was published 31st December 2023, virtually the last day in 2023. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So the KPA, both the men's and women's side, have been just running Kenyan basketball. The men won the championship, the women won the championship. The men had an underwhelming performance in the road to BAL. They had a 1-2 record. I even mentioned it in a video I made. I mentioned it in a video that I made when they flopped. Then on the women's side, I feel like I've covered the women at the latter part of 2021, and not only did I cover their KBF run to the championship, but also their run in Zone 5 and their run in the Africa Women's Basketball League, which I really talked about in depth, and I made sure to even pull up the star sheet, just give a whole create a whole analysis on what really happened in there. And even before we start in this article, I just want to put it out there that the reason as to why KPA is succeeding is because of the money that the corporation has. That's number one, because majority of the teams don't have the money that KPA has. Okay, you can argue that a team like the Nairobi City Thunder, they have the money, which they do. They have the money and the resources right now, and they are the ones who are taking over the league by storm this season. And KPA have not been able to beat the Nairobi City Thunder. Hopefully that changes in the second leg. But all things considered, both the men's and women's side in KPA are the two-time defending champions. They won back-to-back from 2022 and 2023. They won both, and looking at the same trajectory for even this year, I feel like even if KPA, the men's side, won't win the finals, they might make the finals. Or even the women's side, it's a given that they're going to make the finals and win it all through. So the reason as to why I mention this is because there's a tier difference between KPA and the other teams. And the men's team is a four-team competition in the Premier League. The Nairobi City Thunder, KPA Dockers, the Equity Dumas, Lindsay Warriors. On the women's side is only KPA and Equity Hawks. So you're seeing there's no much parity in there. And with that out of the way, you can go check out the article. So KPA basketball teams have established themselves as basketball powerhouses not only in Kenya but also in the region and Africa at large. So especially the women's side. The women's side has been sensational. They went ahead and won Zone 5, but they are massively flawed. But even with their flaws, they're able to get through and make the Africa Women's Basketball League finals. And they had a very underwhelming finals, if I may add. And I talked about it in depth in a video that I covered. So both clubs have dominated the Kenya Basketball Premier League in the last 6 years, even a dominance that even continues even this season. So we have not seen a lot of KPA basketball this season because they've had like assignments outside. We saw the men go to BAL, and the women not only went for Zone 5, but also they went to the Africa Women's Basketball League. So domestically, they were not as present as you might think. So KPA ladies have excelled both locally and internationally. This is debatable, because if you look at their performances, they're not the best, especially when it comes to the Africa Women's Basketball League. They got outclassed by one team, and it really exposed them and showed like the disparity in quality of how they played. But nevertheless, the win and loss column shows that they have racked up more wins than losses, and this can give a false sense of security because majority of the time they won't be able to dominate in Africa like that. They just got lucky this season. So capped with like the second place finish in the Africa Women's Basketball League and the Zone 5 title, KPA are just on an all-time high right now. But we all know the truth. We all know what really happens. So the team under long-serving head coach Anthony Ojuku has already had a decorated 2023 calendar. In June, the Dockers started off by defending the Premier League title after sweeping the Vitex Sparks, and the male team and the men's team the men's team beat the Equity Dumas in 4 games. So for the women's side, it was a sweep. The KPA won. They beat the Equity Dumas in 4 games, which was something that I really saw coming, because when the game just went to Mombasa, KPA have the highest win percentage in Mombasa, so they closed out the season and closed out the series in 4 games. So in November, KPA made easy work of REG in the finals, and even in the semi-finals in the of the Africa Women's Basketball League, they were able to like get past a re-energized REG team, which honestly they made like some signings that made it a way that they were not gonna lose any game, but they got stopped by KPA and they had to settle for 4th place. So in December, KPA went to Alexandria, Egypt, with the aim of making history during the inaugural Africa Women's Basketball League, previously known as the Africa Women's Club Championship. So the Africa Women's Cup Club Championship was the final installment. Their final installment happened in 2022. Then they changed it to the Africa Women's Basketball League. So they indeed made history by winning silver, as they qualified in the final and had a podium finish for the first time in the continental level. So the podium finish is what they looked for, and that is one thing that they had the goal for. And honestly, if you ask me, they made the finals. Even if they finished that, they still have a podium finish, but they were in the finals and they had an underwhelming performance in the finals. So this is all glossed over even in this article. Even when you ask them, they will say that it was a success, and even if they lost in the finals, they'll say, you know what, they got silver. So they're willing to settle for, like, 2nd place. They don't really care about making sure that at least they have meaningful silverware like that, and they're not even willing to even change their ways in how to play basketball in that level. So they rather play the same way in KBF. They play the same way in Zone 5, and they play the same way. They don't want to change anything. So they're very complacent, and they just wanted a podium finish. Even if it was 2nd or 3rd place, which they got 2nd, which was great, but they will have done more in that finals because that was a quick game. So in the last 6 seasons, the KPA men's side has won the league 5 times, and they had a three-peat of 2016, 2017, 2018, and they won back-to-back 2022 and 2023. So this is actually a dynasty team. So the KPA basketball family knows what makes them tick in the sport. The KPA ladies team assistant coach Brenda Angeshi, who also played for the team in her prime years, says lays it bare. So she was quoted as saying, hard work and teamwork. Being a team with players spread across the country, which is Mombasa, Nairobi, Kisumu, it takes a lot of effort to win games, even the local league. The players we have are those who play from the heart. They work so hard, and with their talent, our work as coaches becomes easier. So I feel like KPA, the men's side, they have done a lot of things, and they have been able to back up what they say in the Premier League, in the KPA Premier League. But I can't say the same thing when they go outside, because when they go outside, they get exposed, and that's the same thing that even ails the women's team. They get exposed outside of KBF, and they're only good when they play in KBF, and that's where it starts and that's where it ends. So the main reason we have been dominating the league is because we have maintained a good crop of players who have committed to the work ethic we expect them to put in. Majority of the time they train individually, and it takes a lot of discipline to do that. When the team assembles for an assignment, they are well taken care of, and that motivates them to perform well. Assurance of participation in the international assignments when they qualify is a key driver to building teamwork towards one common goal. Explain the team. We also have experience in we also have a very experienced technical team that involved in developing the individual talent. The support from management in terms of funding plays a major role in the team's achievements. So these sentiments were echoed by KPA men's team head coach Sam Kiki. So it's all about hard work, dedication, desire, and commitment we put to training. The technical bench also contributes immensely. The type of training we conduct is probably incomparable to what our peers are doing locally, without forgetting the great support we get from our management. I also believe a team with one or two veterans is better placed to compete, as they lead the young players and put the team together, so Kiki said. On his part, City Thunder assistant coach Sadat Gaya attributes KPA's success to a strong technical bench. KPA's success starts and ends from their Hall of Fame headed by the retired team manager Ogutu. He has been doing great recruitment since he retired from the court. Coach Ojuku, another member of their Hall of Fame, has brilliant mind. Such is Michael Pell and Sam Kiki. Both teams have always had a core that they find ways to incorporate other youngsters to the team. Their financial muscle also plays a key role in implementing the costly plan they do every season. So Gaia said. So you're saying KPA's dynasty, and it only starts and ends in Kenya, but when you go outside, it's a SHIT show, and KPA have not been able to get over the hump, especially the men's team. I know road to Bali is hard, but a team like Dynamo from Burundi made it, and they played north of 10-11 games, but KPA stumbled in the first round after losing 2 out of their 3 games, and they won against Elan Cotton. So the thing is, the success, especially when it comes to KPA, is only here in Kenya, and because of the financial muscle that they have. But when they go outside, they just crumble, and they're not as threatening. And right now, they don't even look like they're a threat because, number one, the 2-time defending champions KPA, they lost not only to the Nairobi City Thunder, but also to the Ulinzi Warriors. So that means in the power rankings, they've been knocked all the way back to the 3rd spot, and they're just above the Equity Domas. So you can see the team that is reigning supreme right now is the Nairobi City Thunder, and I feel like KPA's last attempt at BAL was last year. I don't think they're going to make it to BAL this year. In road to BAL, they're not going to make it because they're not going to win the championship. This is not a team that looks that strong. They're not as threatening. They're not the favorites. People are just tired of KPA, honestly. They have won a lot. I feel like they've reached their ceiling. They hit their ceiling and they are in the twilight of their dynasty, and it's done. And a team like the Nairobi City Thunder have just geared up and put themselves in a position where there's no way you're going to beat them easily, and there's no way they're going to fall to a team like KPA. That's something that can't happen and the reason as to why I'm confident in that is the home game. KPA were at home in the Makane Gymnasium, and they got owned by the Nairobi City Thunder. They got blown out by 20 points, something that we've never seen happen in KPA in recent times when teams go match up against KPA. So you can see there is no future for KPA. As much as their accolades are there, even on the women's side, they can win here in Kenya because the women's division is weak in itself. Outside KPA, outside the top 2 teams, KPA and the Equity Hawks. Okay, can even add the Zitex Sparks, but I don't even think if they win it all, they can go anywhere. Because let's take the case, let's say for example, the Zitex Sparks won it all. They are not going to go to the Zone 5 championship. They don't have the money, so they're going to give away their slot to another team. And in this case, you saw the Zitec Sparks qualified to play, but what happened? They gave up their slot to the Equity Hawks, a team that they swept. So you're seeing, if you don't have the money, you don't have the leverage. Let's say, for example, the Zitec Sparks, let's say you and Dynamites versus Storms make the finals. They're not going to go anywhere because they don't have the money. That's why even in the previous video I made, teams don't have the money. Then that's the reason as to why they can't progress. And teams that have the money are complacent. Teams that have the money to be able to even improve on how they play, they don't want to improve and play. They can come here and lie to you. They can come here and tell you, oh, we're hard work, everything. They can say all that. But the thing is, their hard work did not get them to Road to BAL, because that's not KBA. Winning the KBF championship is not the goal. Going to the BL is the goal, and they failed at it. And they have failed not once, not twice, but 3 times. And this is the last time that KPA are going to make it to Road to BAL. They made it. The last time it was last year. They're not going to make it there again. They're not. And honestly, if you ask me, I don't think that they have the ability to even compete in Africa. They're only good in Kenya. Even the KPA women's side, as much as you might think that that run that they had in the Africa Women's Cup was great. Not even Africa, the Africa Women's Basketball League was great. If you look at it closely, you will see that this is a massively flawed team. They brought in foreign players that they don't need. They prioritize foreign players. These people prioritize having like foreign players on the team, and they don't even care about improving their own squad. They would rather improving their own squad locally. They would rather keep the players that keep the players that they don't need, and go ahead and get foreigner players to come and bail them out. We have players who have not been able to improve. We have players that have failed. And honestly, there are some players in that KPA team that cannot play for any other team outside KPA. Even in KBF, they can't play, because they will not stand out. You can put them anywhere else, they'll be non-existent. So it is what it is. So I just said, let me just pop by and just talk about this article. The point that I was even trying to make here was the KPA organization has failed to improve, or even failed to have good talent development. They only focus on team success. They don't care about the athlete. They don't care about grooming like young players. They only care about team success, and team success is winning now, and they can use whatever means or whatever shortcuts because they have the money. My advice to any young player: don't even think of playing for a KPA team. You're not gonna get the minutes. You're not gonna get the exposure, and they can cut you anytime. So don't even waste your time. Rather, you just play for a team that loses. You just play for a team. It's better you just average like 25 or 25 points per game in 30 minutes per game, other than in a losing team. Other than go play for KPA, you average 4 points per game in how many minutes? 7 minutes per game. So you choose. You pick where you want to go, because KPA does not care about talent. They don't care about grooming anything. They don't care about honing skills. They only care about team success and shortcuts, and that's the reason as to why they're using their money for that, and that's the reason as to why they fail at the biggest stage. And if you look at KPA, they don't have any good work ethic, especially when it comes to continental basketball, because if you look at even the top performers in continental basketball, Victoria Reynolds is there. She was the MVP. She's not even part of KPA. She's only part of KPO, and they have continental assignments. Madina Okot, the leading rebounder, she's not even part of the KPA team. She's a Zitex Sparks player. So even if you see them winning, it's not because they are not KPA. That's not the KPA team. So honestly, the thing that even pisses me off is the fact that people have so much praise of this team, yet they are trying to cheat their way in there because they have resources, and they get caught in the end when it matters. So they're not all what as they seem. This is a franchise that I can even say contribute to even the corruption in the league. So yeah, they are a powerhouse in Kenya alone, but not in the continent. So if you guys like the video, make sure you leave your feedback down in the comments. This is just my opinion, just adding on to this article, and I'm out. Peace.